Let's talk about Judgment Day. The actual show itself starts, of course, with a dark match. Get a pretty fun match here too. Mickie James and Beth Phoenix are going to hook it up. Mickie gets the win with the DDT. Man, two bona fide WWE Hall of Famers, real trailblazers. You know, they're sort of in this transition period from we're no longer doing bra and panties, but we're not quite yet to the women's revolution that we would enjoy a few years later. But when you think about great women's wrestlers of this era, Mickie James and Beth Phoenix are probably near the top of the list, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and reliable, uh, technically sound. I got a lot of respect for both those ladies. They've both contributed a great deal to our business, along with many other women that blazed a trail. You got to understand, this whole women in the locker room scenario is, something I discussed with Vince. I said, the game's going to change when you want me to hire these athletic tens and they congregate in the at the arena where there's already a shortage as a rule of dressing rooms, and now you got to have separate dressing rooms for the ladies, obviously, of course. Uh, but I think that uh, you know I don't know, Connie. I think that uh, we got lucky on some of those things. Going to work out good. But Beth and Nikki were they're major players, and they were a very positive influence with their work ethic and their physicality and their in-ring skills as any two women we had.
Let's also mention the first match here is a big one. Man, I wish we could see this match today, but we got it 15 years ago. Umaga and CM Punk are going to open the pay-per-view. Golly, what a talent Umaga was. I can only imagine how much fun he'd be having as an elder statesman in the bloodline these days.
Yeah.
What a match this was. They go 11 minutes and 52 seconds. Umaga gets the win, and Meltzer would say, this result is hard to fathom, other than the company's usual directive of always wanting to make the guy look bad in his hometown. Of course, we're in Chicago, remember. It's been ingrained in the writers that, in particular, when you have a baby face in his hometown, you make him look bad because it's easy to get heat that way. But to me, that's backward thinking, other than the idea that hometown fans will make their guy appear to be a bigger star than they're often slotted to be more often than not. And there seems to be an aversion to allowing that unfair competitive advantage. It was a good idea to open with this match, and the idea that since Punk has the briefcase, he can put people over right now is sound. But for a company that is dying for mainstream acceptance, and here they have a guy who was the grand marshal of the Thanksgiving Day parade in Chicago, and it doesn't get any more acceptable than that, you should throw the local fans a bone. Putting Punk out first got the crowd into the show. Ultimately, he rated the match 3.25 stars. It's the running hip attack and the Samoan spike for the pin. But I thought that this little write up about saying that the writers have been ingrained to just bury the local guy, the local star in his hometown because it's good heat. I've never really read it written that way. I guess I understand where they're thinking that, but I tend to think I would go the other way. Why not make the guy feel like a bigger star rather than lean into the heat? What would you do?
I would make the people happy,
Yeah.
quite frankly. Having a hero come home and win a hard fought match would be good for both talents. Punk could go over. Umaga was going to get over, in my opinion. Eddie was just I never had any issues with Eddie whatsoever as a talent relations guy. He was very thankful for his opportunity. He was those guys are just amazing athletes. You think about, well, what if Umaga was dropped a few lbs and wanted to go out and play football? He could have done that. He's had great feet. He's quick and athletic, strong, and you never doubt a Samoan's physicality because they got it. And if you don't believe me, folks, go look at some of your schools, especially those schools out west, Utah's and Utah States and other schools in that region, and how much success they have using their island boys because they're just so athletic and tough and durable. You know, Bill Watts told me one time about how to judge the strength of a guy was how wide his wrists are. So if you get somebody who's got wrists that are this wide, and that's not too much of an exaggeration, then you kind of get the drift. Bone density
Yes.
is a key thing, and now the colleges are using it. There's more and more Samoans and guys from that part of the world playing Division I or NFL football. It's not even funny. And when you think about the Palomalus and think guys like that, they're Hall of Famers. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot. Oklahoma had a player named CJ Ayu, AHYOU, and they defensive end. But he's a big, rangy guy, could run, and he had wrists that were about this wide. Strong, great bone density. It's a winner, folks. It's a winner. Great food, great price. Give it a shot and see if you don't agree.
Let's talk about the next match. I mean, we started with a hot one, the hometown hero, CM Punk and Umaga. Umaga goes over. Now we've got Christian and Jack Swagger, two very capable performers. This is for the ECW world title. Meltzer would say maybe a slight disappointment in quality. The crowd's into Christian early, and ultimately, Swagger's going to try to use the trunks, get caught by the ref. Christian then pulls Swagger's straps down and has like a reverse Lawler effect, I guess, and uses a rolling reverse cradle holding the trunks for the pin. And it's explained here. The storyline is Christian is just outsmarting his less experienced opponents. 2.5 stars. I mean, Christian's got a singles run here for himself. After he's had that little cup of coffee with TNA, he's back in the WWE. He's not the tippy top guy, but he is the ECW world champion. And I would even argue that 15 years later, somehow, some way, Christian's doing his best work right now in 2024. Would you?
Yeah,
agree?
and he's going to headline the damn pay-per-view too with Swerve Strickland. That'll be a nice physical match. That'll have a well-told story. There's no doubt in my mind about that. As Swerve continues to evolve as the AEW champion, he's understanding his role better. I like his physicality. So that match I think will be a little bit of a sleeper match in Vegas in a couple of weeks.